Welcome to Chump Change, everybody, the post show where we hear the truth behind the lies. And once again, I'm joined by the crew from episode 1 of season 3. So welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
We had a lot of liars that round. So we didn't get to hear all the true stories that were tucked into these envelopes here. So, I mean, we got to hear this. We let the audience kind of decide. Gavin Free convinced a coworker that he killed someone. Why and how? Why?
Why? Because it seemed hilarious at the time. I basically
like most things.
Yeah.
It was my RTX Guardian, who
oh my god, no,
as Charles.
Really? Wow.
Basically, after he was my PA, I became friends with him and I started working with him on stuff. And he was with us somewhere in California. We were just sat on the beach. It was me, him, and Dan. And Dan and I just sometimes just go into these random improvs where we don't plan anything, but we'll just start chatting shit if there's someone new around us. And we were talking about how sad it was when we were kids on the beach and we were burying our friend and all the sand caved in on him and he suffocated to death. and Dan, we were both totally straight faced, just yeah, and we just couldn't dig him out in time, and the parents were getting involved and we just couldn't get to him. And Charles was like, oh my god, and he had just had a kid, he was brand new parent. Oh, he believed us. God. He believed us, and we fully moved on from the subject. And we were towards the end of telling the story, we were cracking up a little bit. He fully believed us, and later that night at dinner, he was like, I just can't get over that story. It's just so sad. I was like, Charles, we were making it up. We were lying. We're not responsible. We're not responsible for some 7-year-old kid's death. We're just messing with it.
He's like, you were lying, and then he's like, yeah. I called the police. I called the police. They're on their way to the restaurant right now.
Mind. Scratch that.
The whole town covered it up.
We went for 20 minutes of we were talking about how the news got involved and how it was this big thing. Oh, it was great.
Murder on ocean shores.
What was he doing during that?
What do you mean?
Probably mental gymnastics.
Was he just real quiet, or was he asking you questions?
He was just he was kind of in awe and asking questions and wondering how we were so untraumatized by it.
How he's wondering how you got away with it is how it was what he was wondering.
Yeah.
We
got stuff happens.
Yeah, because it was an accident.
Is this the same Charles that you poured syrup into his pockets?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
we have a good time.
Leave this poor man alone.
Notice that it says convinced a coworker, not friend, right? It's because of what they do to poor Charles.
Very true.
That their relationship is relegated to coworker.
Was the syrup incident before or after? Oh, was the syrup before or after you convinced him that you killed someone?
Syrup was before.
Oh, okay. So it's a progression. Is this level of friendship?
Yeah.
Okay, first I'll put syrup in your pockets, but then I'll convince you that I'm a murderer. Once we get to
syrup pockets, murder.
Yeah.
Nailing him to a chair. Right.
I don't mess with him as much anymore because of that. He really took it seriously.
It was scarring.
Is it because it's too easy?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really easy.
Because he lays there at night and goes, but what if he wasn't lying? James. So this is the other story that we didn't get to hear the truth behind. Went to a child's birthday party with a celebrity, John Malkovich. What caused
not
that?
the only celebrity there, by the way, but this would have been 2006 or something, and I was working as an intern for a production company that happened to be owned by John Malkovich. He lives in France. He's never there. He works from France or whatever, but he has 2 producing partners, and they were basically who I worked for. It was a very small office, so it was basically the 2 of them and me. But one of the producers would bring in his 6-year-old daughter to hang out during the workday, and they were doing busy stuff and in meetings. So I was basically the babysitter a lot of times, and so I was between answering the phones and doing PA stuff or whatever, I was also just hanging out with the 6-year-old girl. And then at a certain point, towards the end of the summer, the boss came up to me and he goes, hey, can you come to my daughter's birthday party? And I was like, what? She's like, she really wants you to come to your to her birthday party. She's turning 7. And I was like, I mean, I guess so. Like, it was a nice friend. And he's like, but don't worry about it. We're going to have some other adults over. And so, you know, there's going to be adults hanging out. So you're not going to have a party with my daughter or whatever.
Be the kid's birthday party. Yeah.
Right.
So he invited me,
on a
and then
table with teacups. Like,
basically. So he invited me, and then when I went to his house, his really nice house, he went upstairs. He showed me his daughter, which a bunch of kids sitting at a tiny table playing like tea time or whatever. And she was like, "You came to my birthday party, thank you." And then immediately ADD'd off to whatever other more important thing that she was doing. And then the boss brought me down and then was like, "Oh, we're having lunch in the backyard if you want to join us." And in the backyard was John Malkovich, who was in town. Hugh Laurie was in town. Like a bunch of pretty powerful people in like the industry or whatever were in town. We're like, we'll come over, we'll have lunch in the backyard. So then I ended up hanging out at the party for a couple hours, eating lunch with them, and just like kind of, I basically sat there like Charles listening to Gavin tell a story about murder. I just was like, cool. Didn't really have anything to contribute as a 22-year-old intern, but it was a pretty cool experience, and everyone was very nice.
That is awesome.
So,
damn. Yeah. Gavin, great. The obscure celebrities, they sell those stories. Yeah.
That
I had to tell you.
I feel like
think of that.
Like, you've got to pull
Gavin,
from like
because
you
he's
gotta
a
pull
Bee
from
Gees
Slight
fan.
Truth, right? No, because Robin Gibb did live in my town, so that was the easy choice.
I did the exact same thing.
Okay.
I had to lie on an episode of Chump last season because we have a game where I tell a truth or a lie, and mine was about punching a celebrity, and I went with Mike O'Malley, the host of Guts. Because he's like a Boston native, and and I was like, that's a celebrity.
Yeah.
So, like in the loosest term.
Robin Gibb used to shop in the supermarket I worked in, so that's why I picked him.
Ah.
I also like that you said Mike O'Malley, host of Guts, even though he was on a sitcom called Yes Dear for like 15 years that made him probably 1,000 times more money than
more
Guts
famous.
ever did.
No, I knew him for Guts.
But we always knew him for Guts. Me and my
90s
friends
kids.
knew him for Guts.
Yeah.
Jeremy Haddock.
How much time do we have at the end of this post show?
My tornado story was completely true, by the way. As well. I was in a sandstorm that was all like spinning in Dubai.
Well, I saw a lot of people in the chat while you were telling your story. They were like, "Well, I don't believe Gavin because there's no tornadoes in Dubai."
Yeah,
but
I guess, it was at night.
So it was a sandstorm, not a tornado.
It
Yeah,
was
they're like
honestly,
sand
it
cyclones.
was
I've
like
heard of
a
these.
sweeping wall of sand, though. Like we couldn't see all the cars on the highway
Like
had
the
to
face
stop.
of the mummy.
Yeah.
Just coming at
Arnold
you.
Vosloo was like
Gavin had to he sprayed chrome in his mouth and then drove deeper into it.
witness me.
It's like a dust devil, right? And like those sand tornadoes are like dust devils, right? Is what they're
I
referred to.
assume
maybe.
it wasn't as big as I thought it was because it was like pitch black.
That would make anything scarier.
The lack of your care for remembering the detail of why you were there is what threw me off. Like
the white goo.
I gotta tell you, Chad.
I don't know. It's
actually
like
quite a lot
craft
for
yogurt.
Me. I once flew all the way to Latvia, and I filmed some spray come out of a nozzle in slow-mo, and then I went home, and I don't know what I worked on. I don't know if it was a commercial. I don't know if it was like a music. I don't know. It was just like a spout that sprayed some mist, and then I left. Don't ask me what it was.
Well,
incredible.
That is why we'll keep welcoming
Gavin.
Well, welcome Gavin back to the show.
Get him on more as a liar. His general lack of care for facts just really screw
That
over
is the most
person who's
believable,
trying to
yeah.
determine.
It got you a couple of times. Chad, you gave it your all.
Gavin can't be bothered.
I did.
No.
I'm too
We'll
believable.
definitely
Hold on,
have
can I tell one more? Can I tell one more story that's related to Guts?
Please.
You guys remember Mo, the ref?
Yeah.
Throw it to Mo.
I was
Of course.
I was in Burbank, and there's a comedy club in Burbank called Flappers, and Chad, guess if I'm lying or not. And so I was just walking around down there, and someone handed me a flyer and said, "Did you ever watch Guts?" And I went, "Of course," and then slapped them to the ground. No, I said, "Yes, of course I watch Guts." You know Mo? Of course I know Mo. And they go, "Mo's doing comedy in the comedy club right down the at the end of the block if you want to go see Mo perform." And I was like, maybe. Like Elise and I we didn't really have anything to do. Like, want to go see Mo? She's like, I don't know who Mo is. Like, well, Mo's from Guts. And so want to go see Mo perform some comedy. And I was in my head, I was doing this conversation. I was like, yeah, maybe. And then they go, and then right afterwards, they'll be doing a Christian improv set. And I went, no, thank you.
Oh, sold.
Oh no!
It sounds
now.
like the
Oh yes,
worst
please. Yes, please.
thing I could imagine. So I never saw Mo, but she was close by. She was very close by. Haven't heard. I don't know if she still does comedy or what. It's just like no Mo for 25 years, and then Mo, and then no Mo for another 10 years.
They pop up. They just Mo. Yeah, Mo is best in small doses, small moses.
She's like cicadas. Like
That's the Christian improv, Jeremy. You nailed it.
Well, that's our post show. That's the truth behind the lies. We heard some bizarre stories today. Once again, just a great batch of liars. It's Lindsay and Gavin proving their deception, and James coming in strong on his first appearance. Chad, we'll keep you in the deception corner from now on.
Yeah, I've learned I'm
back
better
the
at
line
lying.
for you, young man. Back the line. Make sure to tune in Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time if you want to play along during the show. I know you want to, so tune in for that. We got a whole season in front of us. Thanks for coming, everyone. See you next week.